crash course in homeschool. And by the end, we're going to answer your questions. We're going to talk about why we homeschool, what kinds of things to focus on, what kind of a speed we should go about educating our kids. We're going to talk about curriculum. We're going to talk about subjects. We're going to talk about what not to do and answer any questions that pop up. On my computer, when I am actually looking at my slides, I cannot see your comments. So as you are commenting, every now and again, I will circle back. Let's go ahead and get this party started. The very first thing in your crash course of homeschool is you have to identify your why. This is without vision, the people perish. My husband is a very big goal-centered gentleman. And he would be the first one to tell you that if you don't know what you're aiming for, then you are sure to not hit it. So let's identify, step back, and identify your actual why in homeschool. You want, I'm assuming, to build stronger connections with your kids and stronger connections with your family. You want to be able to focus on their character and life skills, right? That's a big part of why we homeschool our children, is so that we can shape them into the future versions of themselves. But we also want to be able to personalize their education while protecting the integrity and the beauty of childhood. We don't want to lose our kids just for the sake of being able to say that we completed the homeschool lessons, right? So I'm going to encourage you to add any questions that you have in the chat. My name is Becky Saylor. My husband, Craig, and I have been homeschooling for over 25 years. We now have this life mission of breaking the chains of curriculum with homeschool families, one family at a time, where we can speak with confidence now at this stage in our homeschool journey, after having launched 4 out of 5 kids, after having had 5 of our kids graduate with at least their associate's degree and are flourishing in life, that if you focus on the character and the heart and the family first, that you truly are going to be giving your kids an unfair advantage in life. It's a beautiful thing. It shouldn't be this way. Other kids should have the same opportunity, but it is, in fact, if you focus on character, if you focus on family, if you focus on the child first, then your kids are going to have an unfair advantage. You can, my husband and I teach you how to personalize education to meet your children. And we've been at this for 25 years. I am still married to the father of all of my children. At the point of this video, we've been married over 33 years, and we've been coaching homeschoolers over 12 years through the lens of the fact that I'm giving this gray hair a test spin. Why go gray if you can't help other people with the hard lessons that you've learned? The first step in getting help that you need is to give me a peek behind the curtain. Somewhere in the descriptions, there is a link that will bring you to a place where you can fill out a survey. If you're going to want help from me at any point in your homeschool journey, that survey lets me see things like how long you've been homeschooling, what are the ages of your kids, and what are your specific needs. So, crash course in homeschool. It starts with the why. Why do you homeschool? The next thing is that you need to have a master set of homeschool goals. If you ask, there was a season in life where my husband and I were connected with this group of homeschoolers. There were only 6 of us, the 6 moms together, and we had 25 children, like if you counted all of our kids. And so what that meant is that if you asked any of us questions about homeschool, you were very likely to get 25 different answers, because your answer about what to do with homeschool is very specific to your child, to their unique needs, their unique talents, their unique requirements in order to launch into life. So you need to understand, as you're searching for help on the internet, if you ask 10 different homeschoolers questions about what to do, what curriculum to use, what kind of benchmarks, what kinds of things, how do you know if you're doing it right? You're going to get a million different answers, because even a single homeschool mom, a single homeschool dad, a single homeschool family will have multiple things that they've done to achieve the success if they're in fact on the success side of homeschooling. So when it comes to your homeschool goals, you need to first know why you're homeschooling, right? To protect the integrity of your children's childhood, to build amazing connections, and to give them an unfair advantage academically in this world. But you have to have goals. And inside Homeschooling Olympians, we have a whole module on this, but it starts with answering the question, by the time my kids graduate high school, I want them to know what? Now, some people know the answer to this question right away. I can tell you that I've talked to dozens and dozens of homeschoolers this year, and I have yet to bump into a homeschooler that is struggling that knows their homeschool goals. They don't have a vision. They're just doing the next thing. They're just following the curriculum. They're hoping that if they throw spaghetti at the wall, that something's going to stick and their kids are going to be educated on the other side. But I can tell you that to have true success in homeschool, you have to have fundamental goals, and you need to be able to boil them down into something that's delicious, something that you can quote to yourself and your children over and over and over again. For instance, my husband and I have very basic homeschool goals, that we share our faith with our kids, that they know their basic math facts, that we marinate them in excellent literature, and that they become excellent communicators by the time they graduate high school. There's no rush. And every single thing, once you have your master homeschool goals set, then you can measure everything that you do through the lens of those goals. It is the key to helping break the chains of curriculum, because you'll be able to clearly see which parts are busy work and which parts are necessary. Once you know your why, once you have your master homeschool goals, then you need to, again, this is a crash course. You need to understand the stage of homeschool that you are in right now with each of your kids. There are only 3 stages of homeschool. This took me 25 years to see clearly and to be able to articulate. Thank you, Araceli, inside Homeschooling Olympians, because you are the one that helped me see this clearly. There are 3 stages of homeschool. There's the foundation stage, where your kids are learning to read. They're learning to understand that math, there are symbols that represent numbers and that you can do stuff with the math. Foundations. There's the flourishing and fun stage, where most homeschoolers trip up. And then there's the launching stage, which is usually 14 or after, when the kids have an after high school goal that you can then target toward. You have to understand which stage your kids are in. Otherwise, you will put undue pressure or not enough pressure on them as they are moving towards their future self. So the 3 stages of homeschool are super, super important to understand. Go ahead and shout out in the comments or wherever it is, wherever you're watching this video. Do you know which stages your kids are in right now? Do you know your why? Do you know what your master homeschool goals are? These are necessary in order for you to step forward with confidence. Okay, so those are the 3 foundational things so far. We've got our why, we've got our goals, and we know what stage our kids are in. In the theme of a crash course, you need to understand that there is no rush in homeschool, especially if your kids are under 14 or 16. You can make curiosity and learning the goal as you look at your kids. You can stop clinging to checklists and curriculum and all the pressure from all over the place. You can truly take a deep breath and slow down and just enjoy learning about stuff with your kids. Can I say can somebody just shout out amen? Can somebody just shout out, oh my gosh, thank you? Because we're going to talk about curriculum in a second, but you need to understand that there's no magic checklist of the things that your kids need to learn, not unless you're in the launching stage and now you're fine-tuning their trajectory so that they end up where it is they want to go. You don't need to study all the things that curriculum dictates that you need to. You can truly focus on the basics. You have to remember that your kids are growing up in this, look at my kitty, that in this world, they have a supercomputer at their fingertips. That means once they learn how to read, that there's nothing that they can't touch their fingers and learn about. And they know this. That's why curriculum is such a problem, because curriculum doesn't take that into consideration. Curriculum is this dry stack of information that your kids look at and they start to ask, why? Why do I need to do this? Why do I need to learn this? The reality is that you don't. Just pause for a second and think back through your own educational history. Now, I'm a relatively intelligent person, but when I look back, I have never had to diagram sentences as an adult. I have never had to identify different parts of speech. I have never had to write a 5-paragraph essay as an adult, or properly order events in history, or any of the things that school dictated that I learned. And I'm guessing that you're the same. Instead, I learned how to learn. I learned where to get help when I got stuck, how to find a better word if I was trying to communicate clearly. You can truly, truly focus on the basics, the goal of learning the basic math facts, everything that falls into the category of arithmetic, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, inside and out. They need to know those math facts. You need to know fractions. You need to know decimals, percentages, measurements, those types of things. The goal is communication, not beautiful penmanship. Oh, that's a bonus, but it's not necessary. It's a bonus. I know it's hard to let go of that, but the goal is communication. Do they know who they're speaking to? Do they know the purpose behind what they're communicating? And do they know the vocabulary necessary to communicate clearly? That's the goal. The goal is that they love to read, that they're marinated in story, that they understand that there are people that have gone before them and that they can learn from that, right? That they will be a very different person 5 years from now, depending on what books they read and who they hang out with. The goal is that they learn how to find help when they get stuck. These are the basics. These are the cores of being successful at homeschool. We understand our why. We understand our goals. We understand the stages, and we concentrate on the basics. From there, dun dun dun, back to, so if anybody has questions or comments, just let me know. We need to talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is curriculum. And I'm going to start right here by saying curriculum is not bad. However, curriculum is created by people that are trying to sell second grade to somebody that just finished first grade. They're trying to sell seventh grade to somebody that just finished sixth grade. If you can step back, you will clearly see that curriculum through the foundations and flourishing and fun stage is all about reading comprehension and being able to interact with things that you're reading, letting it take your imagination. Oh, that reminds me of this types of thing. It's all about being able to put your ideas together so that you can communicate. It's all about the basic arithmetic in math. And then in the histories and the sciences, it's taking very common topics and presenting it in a way that you can measure whether or not you touched it. But it's not necessary. You do not need a formal curriculum in order to educate your kids. My husband is always talking about the best education that he ever saw as a kid was when some of his friends were actually privately tutored by people that fed into them. Well, that's homeschool in a nutshell. Curriculum intrinsically comes with chains, and it's chained because a lot of us are checkbox driven. If it says we need to do it, we have a hard time letting it go. If it says third grade and our kid has a birthday and another school year comes around, we feel this pressure that we need to move on to the next level. It's not so. Curriculum focuses on different facts and figures and things, and it does not take into consideration the special things about your kids, their talents, their passions, their unique abilities. Curriculum, we need to break away from it because we need to teach our children, not teach to a text. Curriculum has that pressure because of grade level, and we need to give ourselves the permission to step back and to focus on the things that are really, really needed as we're teaching. Now, we've talked about why, we've talked about goals, we've talked about stages, we've talked about curriculum. When you step back and you think, well, what topics and subjects do we need to teach our kids? I'm going to encourage you at this stage, in wherever you are in homeschool, to check with your state and to figure out what it is they require as the bare minimum. We were always in a place where it boiled down to the core four: math, language, history, and science. But typically, your states and the requirements will not dictate that you need to study this event, these topics, or do these assignments. It'll be very, very broad. And you can concentrate on the minimum required so that you check the state boxes, and then you can do what's best for your kids. You want to teach your kids through the lens of your master homeschool goals, not the lens of, ooh, I have these 12 different curriculum pieces that we need to complete at the end of the day. Does this make sense? Somebody say something so that I know that you can still hear me. So you want to teach your kids. You don't want to teach curriculum. But again, curriculum's not bad. My husband and I used different pieces of curriculum for different parts of our journey, but we never let it dictate how long we were sitting at the kitchen table or the types of assignments that the kids needed to complete in order to check off the box for school. We were always very child focused. I say always. We didn't start out that way. We started out with the master checklists because we didn't know what we were doing. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was built to teach in a classroom. That's what I had always wanted to do. So I had these dreamy visions of standing in front of a whiteboard and teaching. And what I didn't take into consideration was that that's not how my children are knit together. So you want to take a step back and look at the bare minimum so that you check the legal boxes, but then you actually teach your child. What you don't want to do is find yourself in a position where you're just turning the page of curriculum again and again and again, where you're allowing it to dictate the course of your day, how long you're doing school, just because it's written on the page. I've talked to enough homeschoolers to know that peer pressure, that pressure that you feel because it's on the written page, is very real, and it kind of breathes down your neck. You feel like, I can't leave this undone. Some of you really struggle with this because you're perfectionist, and because, like me, you like the little checklists of, ooh, if I can have a checklist of 14 things that I completed at the end of the day, that must mean I'm a successful homeschool mom. But if we don't want to overwork our kids just for the sake of checking off boxes. Does a math lesson really need to include flashcards and introducing a new topic and doing a practice set and then doing 5,000 review problems, culminating in neatness of work and perfection in the actual arithmetic part? Or can we step back and look at the lesson and say, oh, we're working on fractions. Let's bake cookies, but let's double the recipe, or let's triple the recipe, or let's cut the recipe in half. You don't want to overwork your kids just for the goal. Curriculum is written by people that can't see your family. So that means they add too much into the curriculum by design so that you can cherry pick the assignments and the techniques that will work for your kids specifically. I know this because I taught in school for a few years. And so it has the ability for you to address your visual learners, your kinesthetic learners, your auditory learners, but you're not supposed to do it all. It's too much. You don't want to keep making school more important than the relationships with your kids. There's a need to still get stuff done, right? There are times that you just have to be mom, just have to be dad, just have to be teacher, just have to be principal. But most of the time, people struggle when they put too much priority on the checkbox stuff in school, and they do that and they lose their kids at the same time. The other thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to stay stuck in homeschool for more than a few days. Everybody has bad days. I've had my share over the past 25 years. But if you're continually stuck, day after week after month, then you need to change, because homeschool is not supposed to suck the lifeblood out of your family. It's supposed to bring you freedom. It's supposed to bring you joy. It's supposed to bring you this peace of mind knowing that you're educating your kids in a way that's going to set them up for success. And at the end of the journey, you want to look back and see a trail of amazing memories and activities that you've done with your family that have brought you closer together. You want to be able to see that they are learning and growing, but that they were never tied and bound to quizzes and tests and reading comprehension questions where they had to write the question and then regurgitate the question and the answer, the types of stuff that you would expect inside a traditional classroom. I'm going to encourage you that if any of these things are your reality, then you need to reach out and you need to get help. If you look at your family and you see that your relationships are withering, then you need to get help. You need to get help from somebody that's further down the road than you so that they can breathe encouragement and counsel and tips and hacks over you that you can actually use inside your homeschool. If you, the homeschool parent, dread the school part of your day, the teaching part of your day, you need to get help. Consider yourself from this day forward to be a professional student. Start studying, start looking for mentors, coaches, or classes or things that will help transform you into a more excited teacher, somebody that dives deep, rolls up their sleeves, and brings learning to life. Don't worry if you don't have those skills right there. There are people out there ready to help come alongside and encourage and equip you. You need to get help if your spouse says, hey, this weekend, let's go for a car trip, and you panic because the same kids that you're wrestling with every day, Monday through Friday, are going to be in the car with you. And the idea of spending more time with these kids is not something that brings you joy. You need to get help. You need to get help if, like I was way back in the beginning, you're crying over your curriculum. And ultimately, if you know that there is a better way to teach your kids and you are not thriving, not finding joy, then you need to reach out and you need to get help. If not from me, find somebody that you trust, that you know that even if they have something that might cost you a little bit money, might cost you a little bit of a time investment, that it's worth it if it strengthens your relationships, if it breathes joy back into your homeschool, if it gives you your family back. Even look at that, even with the typo right in the middle of that. That's fantastic. That's going to drive somebody crazy. So we're just going to fix that right this second. We're going to fix it completely right this second. If you want to have that kind of relationship where at the end of your homeschool journey, you have connections with your kids and memories with your kids, and you can see that the way that you're going is not leading there, I'm going to encourage you to reach out and to get help. And if I'm not a good fit for you, if Homeschooling Olympians is not a good fit for you, please ask, because I am very well connected in the homeschool community. And after getting a little bit of information from you, I can help point you in the right directions. So if you're listening to this fast talking crash course in homeschool and you're like, oh my gosh, I need this, then I'm going to ask you to find the link wherever it is and give me a quick peek behind the curtains inside your homeschool. It's non-invasive, but what that little survey is going to do is it's going to catapult my ability to breathe a personalized nugget that you can use into your homeschool right now. Because I need to know things like, remember, if you ask 6 homeschoolers, what do you do about homeschool? You're going to get multiple answers. Well, you are no different. You're a homeschooler. You have a unique family makeup. You've been homeschooling for a particular amount of time, and your struggles may not be the same as the person next door or the next person to jump in and watch this video. So that peek behind the curtains allows me to see in a way that I can actually give you a personalized nugget that you can use in your homeschool. It may be something that helps you to zero in on your why, or help you with your homeschool goals, or deliver you or point you towards a specific resource that will help you right now in this stage. I don't want you to overthink this. I want you to go find the link and fill out the little survey. And I promise you that out of all the people that have filled the survey out so far, everybody has been able to receive a nugget from us in one way or another. Most people are not a good fit for Homeschooling Olympians, the whole life coaching program part. Most people are not. However, if you are, we'll be able to clearly see that, and then we'll be able to deliver you details from there. So that is the crash course in homeschool, in a nutshell. So you should now see that if you don't have your clear why are we homeschooling? That's the first thing that you need to focus on. Why? Is it to help your kids hold a pencil and write a 5-paragraph essay and to click off all the boxes in a curriculum? I would suggest that you reevaluate that. Step back. What is it that you want to do? What are your master homeschool goals? Most homeschoolers don't have them in place. And when you don't have your goals in place, the curriculum gets too much power in your homeschool. Then you need to evaluate the types of things that you're using, the types of activities that you're doing with your kids, and really look at your family and objectively decide, is this helping us move forward? Is this hurting us? And you need to be able to raise your hand and ask for help in life, no matter what it is that you're struggling with. I'm not seeing any questions right now, so I'll leave you with this. When our kids got to high school, and for our family, all 5 of our kids went on to get their associate's degree. 4 of our kids went on to get their associate's degree while they were in high school. And big deal, so what? It worked for them. But one of the major things that we required that they do was to actually go and touch their professor's door during office hours. As I got smarter with this, I would actually make them go in, and yes, make them go into the office hours, say hi to the professor, and say something like, I just wanted to break the ice and come in and say hi long before I need your help, so that my brain doesn't get hiccuped into thinking that it's a scary thing. And all of the kids discovered that the professors were there waiting to help them, just waiting, hoping for the students that were raising their hands to say, I don't understand this concept. Can you help me with this part of the curriculum? Can you help me with this part of the class? They're sitting there waiting. And the same is true for homeschool mentors like me. I'm sitting here waiting to see what it is that you need, what are the areas that you're struggling with, so that I can breathe encouragement over you, so that I can give you a golden nugget that you can take away, and so that if you are a good fit for Homeschooling Olympians, I can get those details to you right now, so that you can start figuring out which pieces make the most sense, and that we can get you in on the inside. So that is what I have for you today. So that is, I just said so. That is more than one time. Homeschool crash course. Homeschooling is not hard. That's not true. Homeschooling is the best kind of hard. Homeschooling is so amazing when you get to the other side, if you don't quit, if you don't burden your kids with unnecessary schoolwork, if you don't burden yourself with unnecessary schoolwork, if you don't fall victim to grade 3 needs to be followed in a book by grade 4. If you can have the vision of what it is that you're doing and the why behind it, and then if you can look through all of the academic things that you're doing with your kids through those lenses, so much peace, so much joy, so much goodness as you watch your kids take flight. homeschooling is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that's all I have. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me live. Thank you for watching on the replay. Know that you can reach me by completing that survey wherever it is. But if you need any help, you can reach out and you can email me at abetterwaytohomeschool@gmail.com. I love that you joined us live. And so I am so glad that we have been able to come alongside any of you and love on and encourage you. Just got off the phone right before this where I was talking to a soon to be new homeschooling Olympian. And after a few tears shed between us, the reality is that I see you in your homeschool journey. I have walked the walk. I have made it down the path. I've tripped on the same rocks. I've skinned my knees in the same places. And over time have become less and less burdened by the pressure of things like society and curriculum and benchmarks and checklists. And where we are today is in total confidence that you can lean into your family, lean into character, lean into interest-led learning or a loosely followed curriculum and still launch your kids into life successfully. All of our kids made it through high school. All of our kids got their associate's degrees. All of their kids, all of our kids, I keep saying that, all of our kids are kind, hardworking, helpful, considerate, passionate about their area of expertise, and more than willing to communicate clearly about anything that they need to communicate with. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.